Alright, let's begin. So this is another OFCRA PvP operation. However, this has been some of the biggest attendance I have seen in an OFCRA fight. We are in the triple digits tonight, and it is phase 2 of that Cyber Island stuff. So the first Cyber Island was on the same map, and it focused on the castle area up over to the northern side of the map, more so this central area over here. This operation, however, is a little bit of the opposite. It is focusing on a Russian defensive operation to the south. So first the Americans were on the defensive, now the Russians are going to be on the defensive. I have a full breakdown of the operation, who's on whose side and whatnot, all on the mission command. So if you guys want to read through that and see just the extent of this operation, feel free to run that command. Otherwise, we're going to be spectating this op, and we'll see how everything goes. Now, I am in the TFAR channel for now, so I will be able to scroll in and hear their local comms. I can also put a light down if I want to, but this is the full spectator menu, as in I was able to get an ace spectator slot on the server instead of having to join a slot and kill myself, so that's always good. But either way, let's go over the objectives for the sake of the operation. So, there are three ways to score points here. The first is the neutral objective, which is a Russian base. Whoever controls this base by the end of the mission, which by the way, it is a 2-hour-long one-life mission, so keep that in mind. But whoever controls this by the end of those 2 hours will score, I believe, 3 or 5 points. I've already forgotten the number, but it's something for both sides to contend with. Russians are obviously going to put garrisons on it early on, and the Americans can try to hit it later. Now, let me check here. I think it's getting a little bit brighter, but we'll still wait a little bit with NVGs. But the contested objective is a large dam that is in this area. So, there are 2 power stations in this AO. The first, if I were to go into these areas here, is this. Specifically, I think this structure right here needs to be destroyed, and this one needs to be destroyed as well. If the Americans are able to destroy both, they get 5 points. If the Russians are able to defend both, they get 5 points. If one of the generators gets destroyed but the other one still stands, neither side gets points, and it becomes a draw where no one can score points from it. And then, of course, you have your supremacy bonus, which means if either side is knocked down to only a handful of guys, again, I believe it's 5, then the other side gets 2 points. So a lot of different ways to score here. Other ways to tie. Russians can, focus on just having a massive garrison at the guard base and not worry about the power plant. And as long as they can crush the U.S. forces to only a few guys left, they'll be able to tie. But I think the Russians are probably going to go for a dual defensive here. Half their force here, half their force there. But let's go ahead and have a look at the Russian faction itself. So I'm going to put my light on, and we'll try to focus on what we have over here. So, by the way, if you use the mission command, do note that some of the stuff might be different. For example, there was supposed to be a ZSU, but I don't see the ZSU here. My liaison to OFCRA, his name is NASA, who we always see in these operations, said that there were some last-minute changes for balance. But otherwise, we've got 4 BTR-80s here. We've got a single UAZ for transport. We have 2 BMP-2s, one with a Metis, and we have a BRDM and 2 transport trucks and 2 additional UAZs. So basically, mechanized infantry here with APCs and IFVs, transport trucks, and a BRDM for recon. A lot of room for OPFOR to basically get into the AO, play defensive, but also put assets on Overwatch and try to hold this position as best they can. Especially this dam is going to be very, very important to hold. It's a really good Overwatch spot to have, but these this mountain over here is also a little worrisome, especially since it has a little bit of a fortification right here, but that offers some really good eyes here. So I could see the U.S. easily taking these ridges or getting a really powerful vehicle up here and absolutely annihilating everything that's down here. But I like that there are these two overwatch positions for the Russian forces to utilize. And there is even, if we were to scroll over here, we have another little bit of a complex right here, some bunkers. I believe this building, yep, it's the first story is partially enterable, but that can also offer some additional overwatch areas. So if the Russians lose the overwatch areas, that's pretty much the US's free game to absolutely destroy that position. With the Russian base itself being in this town, it's a little tougher for Overwatch to be done, but it is still entirely possible. Gosh, we're at that cusp of night vision where it's really tough to see without the NVGs, but it's also very bright with those NVGs. There's a command to lower the brightness of the NVGs. I just always forget it on the top of my head. But this area is a little more defensible for the Russian forces, so we'll have to see what they do with that. But there's only 3 minutes left, so let's quickly take a look at the United States side. So, we have 6 transport Humvees. We have a recon little bird. No, it is an armed little bird with M134762 miniguns. So basically for some infantry harassment, but an autocannon can easily knock that thing out if they're not careful. Oh, we have another Humvee that is unarmed, so 7 unarmed Humvees total. Oh, we've got an up-armored 50 cal Humvee. We've got 2 MRAPs, one that is up-armored but still exposes the head. We have a recon striker, excuse me. So that is a giant thermal camera. Literally just meant for recon, but it doesn't have any armament except for this turnout area where you got a 240 gunner on it. And then you have 2 Crow system strikers. Actually, 4 Crow system strikers. So what I'm noticing off the get-go here is there is no vehicle-based AT here. Isn't that interesting? I'm gonna look around here to confirm. I mean, that might be a tow system. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's a camera-based system instead. But we'll see. Either way, I think the OFCRA force definitely has an advantage with the fact that they have 2 BMP-2s, like outright autocannons, that can both act as AAA to engage the little bird. Love how someone's unconscious already. That's cute. But I also have to wonder, we got Mazes here. I'm not sure if Blue 4 has any javelin capability for long-range AT, which again would be a balancing thing. That would be a very easy counter for the BMPs. But either way, Blue 4 is mechanized as well. Actually, I would say motorized, considering the strikers are wheeled. Mechanized implies tracks, so both the Russian forces are mechanized and motorized because of the BTRs and BMPs, but even so, those 2 BMPs are going to be very important for OFCRA's victory here. The BTRs can be utilized as mobile 14.5 anti-material turrets, which can pretty much knock out anything that Blue 4 has. So as long as they position them properly, they should be okay. But I could easily see the BMPs going up on these Overwatch positions and entirely scouting for, overwatching for OFCRA here. The question will just become, how is Blue 4 going to push this sector? But the mission has just officially begun, and it just got a little darker. I think it was a scripted command to add a little bit of overcast. But otherwise, 2 hours are going on the clock. Hopefully, it won't take the entire time, but we're already seeing players on the move here for Blue 4. Most of them are mounted up in all of the strikers, the armed vehicles, the armed Humvee, and the armed MRAP are also being taken. The, oh, that's definitely a tow system. Yeah, okay, so that is how they're going to counter the BMPs. All right, cool. Otherwise, a little bit of a slow start here. They're having PHK fly. He's got a backpack on chest for a parachute in case he gets shot down and has to bail, but most of Blue 4 is deploying. Now, another small feature about this operation is this black line right here is a no-cross area for OFCRA. So OFCRA cannot push past this and try to counter Blue 4 as they come in. So that's interesting enough. Another interesting thing I'm seeing on OFCRA's tactics is they are splitting their forces here. They're sending the BMP that doesn't have the Metis with a BTR, and they are going all the way to the left. And they're sending most of the remaining force to the right. It's like T4 just got out of that Vic, so he's getting back in there. But I think they're going to try a wide flank. What this strategy implies is that Blue 4 is going to come in, begin an assault, and then Op 4 is going to have a force over here to then attack the rear of that Blue 4 group. Or they're potentially planning for Blue 4 to come around the left flank, and Op 4 can have a defensive line. But the question becomes, where is Op 4 going to set up that force, and is Blue 4 going to go for a pincer strategy on these objectives, or just in general, how is it going to deploy its forces? That's the question on my mind there. But anyway, chat, how are you doing? Again, I apologize for the 5-minute delay. That is how OFCRA likes to run their operations, so I hope you can bear in mind with me taking about 5 minutes to get back for you. What side would I rather be on? I would say Op 4 for the BMPs. If they can position those properly along the ridgeline and get good overwatch, or even just keep them in reserve on the ridgeline, and only pull them out when they need to quickly like light something up with the autocannon, then pull it back before it can get AT'd, they would be golden. It's just going to take a lot of time to set up those BMPs on this ridgeline in the first place. And we'll just have to see how that goes. Now, with this being a large operation, you are going to see a few people get disconnected. They do have someone in a Zeus interface, though, to kind of help micro things along, just in case there's any crashes like that. I think there's also a few join in progress slots, just in case of tech bugs like that, so the Zeus can help correct something like that anyhow. But again, PHK staying at the Blue 4 base, waiting for to be called in. I just hope he has the range with his radio to do that, and the final group of Blue 4 is being deployed as well. Otherwise, we have a massive force coming around, and it looks like we're going to see a wide Blue 4 flank on the right. Unbeknownst to Blue 4, that's actually going to really help them out against this Op 4 pull-around attack. Because if they attack from the eastern angle, Op 4 is going to have to spend a lot more time repositioning its forces to counter that, especially with a slow BMP. You can just see the speed difference between this BTR and BMP, and the BMP, since mission start, which was 4.5 minutes ago, has only gained this much distance. So it's still going to take up to a half hour for that BMP to get into position with that wide flank attack. I honestly think they would have been better if they wanted to do this attack angle to just drive it along the MSR and turn it left-right here instead. That would have shaved some time off. Or hell, they could have just cut through. Actually, that's a little bit of a hill, so they would have still had to go around. But even then, that would have saved them some more time. Because ultimately, they're going to have to get to this region here. So, it's interesting. Otherwise, we see Blue 4 going up this route. It's just, it looks like they're having a little bit of trouble driving. I think the lead Vic is actually holding for the rest of the convoy to show up because they are stagnating a little bit. But I could see them basically following this route and then ending up right here deploying forces, going up to here deploying more forces, and a potential all eggs in one basket strategy, which is my term for when you push all of your forces along a unified battle line, similar to how I like to see my Zeus Ops done in the, 30 to 60 player counts, just to keep things easy. PvP, not always the best solution to do. However, knowing that OPFOR is probably going to have to separate their forces between 2 AOs, that is the best way to go for a steamroll approach by putting all of your forces to attack one AO and then the next. So OPFOR, even though they have the better vehicles, they have the disadvantage of having to hold 2 AOs instead of 1, and Blue 4 has the luxury of attacking them at their leisure. Now, the question then becomes, is Blue 4 going to try to separate their forces up here to attack both AOs simultaneously, or are they going to continue with that all eggs in one basket approach? Because one of the weaknesses of that everything going on the same attack vector is if the BMPs get a good angle on that attack vector, they could do a lot of damage with that autocannon. So it's going to be absolutely vital that that AT striker is in position to overwatch for those BMPs, and before the attack begins, that proper recon is done to eliminate those BMPs ASAP. I do not have a multi. That multi is, that's from last night. I will go out and delete that. Thank you for showing me that it was still there. I mean, you're not going to hear that for 5 minutes, but progress, right? So far, OPFOR, we are seeing forces getting deployed on the southern ridgeline here, and we also see the BRDM creeping up to the northern ridgeline. Again, as I predicted, OPFOR is going to want to utilize these large overwatch positions, but it's only going to be effective if they can get the autocannons up here. Because they have one BMP going off, it means wherever they put the other BMP has to be in a good spot to do Overwatch, but instead that BMP is parking over here and deploying a group. I don't know how I feel about that. I get why you wouldn't want to put your BMPs up here. It's because, A, it's going to be difficult as hell to get up here. It's going to take a lot of time, but you have that time with how Blue 4 is, but also they have a little bird and they can easily scout that out and they'll know to avoid it, or to line up AT to immediately hit it. But if your driver and your gunner are coordinating really well, and you have, the hills to watch down and see where Blue 4 is, all it takes is 5 seconds to literally get up there, put autocannons downrange, and then as you're doing that, just pull it back immediately. It is one hell of a communication feat to coordinate something like that, but if you can properly do it, it can do a lot of damage. Now, it is slowly getting brighter as well. I'm going to keep us on nods for now, though. Otherwise, Blue 4 have not passed their line yet, knowing that OPFOR cannot pass it. But OPFOR are about halfway to where they want to be. But I'm still going to be really curious to see where they deploy that force there. But anyway, Hillcat, thank you so much for the second... actually, it's technically a resub. It's 2 months. Thank you so much. Hope you keep enjoying the operations. Hope you keep enjoying the PvP commentaries or whatever we come up with on this silly little channel. And I hope you're staying safe from COVID, man. Thank you. So, again, OPFOR... So actually, that's a good question. OPFOR is not allowed to cross the line. I'm not sure if they're not allowed to engage past the line. So realistically, if OPFOR set up an autocannon here and saw forces coming outrange, I would wonder if they're able to engage. But then again, I'm hitting page up and page down to affect my render distance. This is the maximum range. It's only a click for spectator distance. So even then, they wouldn't even be able to see up to that black line. Now I'm noticing my nods are getting more and more bright, so might be soon time to get off of NVGs. But we're also noticing Blue 4 doing a lot of early recon of the route. I don't agree with that. Like, I get why. But they have a little bird that can fly around and do some quick wild weasel runs. It has 134s, so it's, let's be honest, it's not going to be that effective as a gun run vehicle. This is just meant for light harassment at best. It does have a camera on it, though. So if PHK were to get a co-pilot, they could actually use that little bird to properly recon things out. And I believe they'd have enough fuel for the 2 hours, but it's interesting how they're not utilizing that. I thought it didn't have a camera, but they might have changed the version of it to have a camera. But I also know that there's this guy right here. I think he's just going to drive a Vic up, but I find that interesting how they're just keeping it in reserve. And usually that means they're going to use it for gun runs later. Whenever you see aircraft in reserve, specifically helicopters, it's either because they intend to use it later, or it's for gun runs on reserve. If it's already out and about, though, it would be for recon. And it has a good camera for that. I would only assume it's because thermals are disabled on it, but still, that's a very powerful tool that I wish we would see use of today. Maybe they're keeping it for later, I don't know. But utilizing it to recon the route, or at least recon the objectives, would be a good call. And right now, we're seeing OPFOR get a lot of deployment in. We have BTR pushing up with what looks like a squad. We have a UAZ, which is up on this cliff face, which is going to watch any forces coming in. And then we also have the BRDM in perfect scouting area with some guys on top, so potentially has some additional guys in there. We can also hear their local comms. When death starts happening, though, I will mute myself, because then they'll get moved into the general talk channel where I am able to hear people, and it'll get a little bit messy. So Blue Force playing this very safe, which I get. It's a 2-hour event. It's not like Friday Night Fights where you have 50 minutes and you gotta, you know, spend that first half of the time maneuvering in, and the second half you then have to press for the objectives. So it's a ratio of the more time you spend maneuvering your forces and the less time you have to actually do things. 2 hours gives you a lot of time to work with here, so you can play it extra cautious if you want to. But I feel like Blue 4 could have benefited from a little bit more of a rush strategy. Especially knowing that if OPFOR wanted to fully utilize these ridges, it would have taken them a hot second. And Blue 4 could have gotten that information of OPFOR's forces via the Little Bird. I don't know. It's an interesting strat. We got OPFOR. They broke off their 2 groups, and now they're deploying along these... Actually, one is technically an MSR, the Golden Yellow Road, and the other one is definitely an SSR, side supply route, main supply route, basically major road, minor road. And they're trying to watch to see if Blue 4 is going to do an elaborate wide flank. But that's not going to be the case. But again, that opens these guys to, when Blue 4 starts their attack, to then go around this wide flank and attack them. However, since they're not allowed to cross the line, that limits them in how they can do that flanking action. What I'm also concerned about is Blue 4 has a squad in reserve over here. It's a regular Crow Striker. And as I say that, they're going on the move. They could potentially be going for a wide flank along the coast, but again, that leads them to the same spot. So they could have just joined the main force here and then gone down to the coast and do it, but I don't know. Let's look at the roster real quick. Who do we have commanding Blue 4? It is Pogo, no relation to the TSB Pogo. This is a different Pogo. You can tell by the underscore there, and also the Pogo and TSB is named Pogo Leaf, but that's besides the point. I've seen him in the past do a lot of... Oh, God. Modadict, what are you doing? Modadict, why? I can't believe you've done this.
Send in Goat Team 6.
Alright, well, if you got a sub from Modadict, make sure you thank him. This is gonna be a 5-minute delay here, but good God, that's, Jeez, Mod. Thanks. I guess you're maintaining it in case Larry comes up, right? Jeez Louise. But again, Mod, thank you so much. I hope you keep enjoying the content, my friend, and I hope you get a kick out of this. And again, if you got a sub from Mod, make sure you thank him. He is the sub Santa of the channel. But anyway, it's Pogo commanding for Blue 4. His 2IC is Bex. Haven't seen anything from him, so I'll be curious to see what happens if Pogo goes down and Bex has to step up. And large chunk of dudes here. We also have 2 thrown grenades over at OPFOR spawn. I'm just flying over to that to give me something to do. Look at this roster. Oh, they're chem lights. That's why. And you also have... He's
Send in
practicing
goat
for
team
standing up
6.
school. So you see how he's twitching lightly. It's really hard to keep this pose for a long time. Even his head's twitching. Now that's something, alright. I don't know how you were able to die and keep standing, but good on you, whoever did that. Good on you. Regardless, back to the roster. So this is Pogo's attack force coming in. And then for OFCRA, we have CSF Lolo. I think I've seen him in FNF before. Once or twice. It's been a while, though. But I feel like I've seen him there. If not, then it's because I've seen him in other OFCRA operations. But he's got a pretty sizable group himself. But it looks like the attackers have a slight numbers advantage here of about a full squad. NASA is, of course, being one of the crewmen for the BMP. Again, he's my liaison here. Roy Camper you sometimes see in FNF, but, I mean, some of you are going to recognize these names from FNF. It's definitely a mix-in, but a lot of these guys are also EU that don't participate in Friday Night Fights. They just prefer the longer action that we would get here. So otherwise, we're still in the setup phase, but the BRDM is going for the border here that they're not allowed to cross. I'm curious to see where they're going to park. I think they're going to go for an overwatch position somewhere over here and try to watch the coast, which means they might catch that striker out of position. But OFCRA has invested a lot in some flanking recon in Overwatch, but no direct recon in Overwatch, which makes sense, because last week's PvP operation, there was not any direct movement, it was just a lot of flanking actions. So I think the defensive garrison is just banking on the fact that they're going to catch Blue 4 out of position on the sides and potentially have to adapt, but they also have, you know, the BMP here, a full squad here, fully deployed, looking in every direction. They got another group over here deployed. But I'm also really concerned that they don't have at least one guy up here to do Overwatch. I get that it's an obvious position, but having at least one dude... Again, you don't have to put the full squad up there. You can literally just have one guy from Tango come up, hide behind a rock and say, hey, I see something over yonder. And then at least you have one guy giving good eyes. That would be worth the one guy investment, you know?
Send in Goat Team 6.
Now, this striker has stopped. But it hasn't seen the BRDM over there.
Send in Goat Team 6.
And they're speaking French. Gosh, if only I paid more attention and I be French, I could actually tell you what they're saying. But I'm not a language person at all. I'm horrible with languages. But yeah, no, these guys definitely don't know about that BRDM. I think it's just going around the side. And Blue 4 again playing it really safe, having their force right here. I think they're waiting for the rest of these guys to catch up potentially. I don't know. Now it's just a waiting game. We're about to be on the 15-minute mark, which means 1/8 of the time has elapsed, but 1/8 of the time just for Blue 4 to start setting up their attack. Definitely a safe investment there. Again, think they would have benefited from a little more of a rush strat, but I also understand utilizing the full 2 hours. And it also can be because, like, a partial courtesy to let the enemy team fully set up, you know? Because if you just rush attack them and just crush the objective off the get-go, that would be kind of a dick move. I can understand that. I've been in plenty of PvP situations where the attacking faction tries every little meta angle they can to win. And I can tell you as a opposing commander in those situations, it's not fun. Hell, that's why I don't like playing PvP anymore.
Send in Goat Team 6.
So let's look at this BRDM and see where she's going. Because this is a very wide angle here.
Send in Goat Team 6.
And the gun's looking the other way.
Well, we've lost all of our fucking momentum, so we gotta build it up now.
So they're a little stuck on this hill. Now they're stuck on a tree. So I think they're just sweeping around to make sure Blue 4 didn't do the rush. I think that's what they're going for right now. So when they confirm that, then they'll push it back on this recon angle. But if OPFOR had some sort of forward force here to see this blue 4 force coming in and start gauging the number with the vehicles, I think they would feel confident in having these flanking forces start to come around and set up an attack. The best time for this force to start their attack, though, is when blue 4 initiates their attack. That way they can catch blue 4 on 2 active fronts and hopefully just deliver some nasty enfilading fire with those autocannons and clean blue 4 up. Hi, Grizzly Bear.
Goat Team 6 now.
Time for 50 years of Goat Team 6? Damn right.
Send in Goat Team 6.
And again, it's a trade-off. Blue 4 could have played it more aggressively, definitely, but I also understand the courtesy of not playing it aggressively, as I've already mentioned, but
Team 6 now.
sometimes a rush is just part of the strat. And I have no idea what this guy... That's Jafar driving around. He was, he took that MRAP on his own. I think he's just trying to find blue 4 right now and probably jumping on old markers.
Send in Goat Team 6.
But blue 4, we've got about a platoon here, separated out, all being motorized with these vehicles.
Send in Goat Team
Be them
6
Strikers
now.
or MRAPs or Humvee or two. But I think they're just trying to go in. So first they dismounted on their side of the territory, looked around, pushed up a little bit, looked around again, and now they're remounting. I think they're just trying to make sure they don't walk into any ambushes where the BMP can easily smoke them. That's probably why they didn't go for the rush in the first place. But, again, don't mean to beat a dead horse, but this would have been perfect for looking for that. But it also might be because the thermal camera's disabled on it, but if it's not, then, you know. Interesting. So we have the Sierra guy. He's now coming up. This is a really good position, actually. I just don't think he'll be able to see that Striker through the fog, but the Striker's dismounted its squad leader. And he's looking around with binos, making sure it's clear, because that is another pretty nasty place to be. But I think they're just keeping up this right flank in case OPFOR tries to do a flanking action. But again, Mod, thank you for the 47 subs there. You wanted to be at 1,500 even. Larry still has a long way to go. So anyway, I'll take a moment to, let's move away from the Strikers so we don't have to hear the French. What we have today is we have this to be done potentially up to 6 p.m., so another hour and 45 minutes, a little under that actually. Then, I won't stream this next thing, but it's going to be a little bit of testing some new features for the Mandalorian contracting campaign, so I can have all the AOs pre-built just to make sure everything works. The features seem to work in the 506 op, but, you know, always want to test things to make sure they're okay. Then we will be streaming the next Paw Patrol op, which is on a new campaign in Denoland, which is a very large, but can be a very laggy map, so you gotta be careful on that. And that's also testing that script, again, to see if bodies are lootable when they're placed in Eden. And then I'll be going on the ground for the TMTM operation. And then maybe after, I might again do Daisy, but I'm doing a little bit of inventory management across a few bases, so that's why I didn't stream last night for Daisy.
That just because they are driving all the way down from the west.
So, I want to hear if this vehicle catches that Striker.
Bad spot. You have binoculars, McKelson?
Yeah.
You want to give them to me and I'll just stand outside?
It's, I don't mean to, like, sound mean or anything, but I find it really funny to be able to fly up to a vehicle and listen to their local comms and just hear how casual it can be. Like, hey, can you just pass me my binos? Like, I just want to look, just get out of the Vic. Yeah, everything's fine. Some people think that, like, PvP always has this serious tactical demeanor to it, and it's not. It's super fucking casual. I was, as I was with Scandi Recon a few weeks ago, and Barb was also with Scandi Recon the week after, just to play around, just to experience it. Hovey just bashed on the vehicle. There's no animation for it, but you can hear it. I also find it funny how we have an airborne patch from the US on a BRDM, and
Kelston, I'm scared. I guess, yeah. This.
he slipped. Oh, he just hurt himself. So Arma is thinking he's still going down, so the more he resists...
Isn't that true? No.
No. Kelston, I'm scared. Oh no. Okay, I'm not actually getting eviscerated. There's just a lot of blood on the ground for no reason. McKelston? McKelston, no, turn and stay away from the rock. It's evil.
So because of a technical mishap, they missed the striker coming around.
I don't know what I'm gonna do, actually. It's like... Oh god. Well, not, it's just forcing, it's not letting me climb.
Welcome to Arma 3, a perfectly wonderful game
Fight it to, like, stay in one spot, or I'm gonna get shoved off the cliff.
with exactly 0 bugs.
McKelston? Do we have anyone we can ask to get me off of this cliff? Because I'm gonna get armored if I don't get help. McKelston, I was standing next to the BRDM and I turned and I slipped off.
I just find this amusing, I'm sorry. Blue 4, they're still, they're collapsing that striker on the southern flank here. Again, I'd be willing to bet they're either going to split off forces and send half to here, half to there, but we'll see how it goes later. Did he just... Looks like he's fine now. Hurt his leg a little bit, but he figured it out. He did the thing. Alright, well, I'm glad we had a happy ending. Otherwise, Blue Force still waiting on deployment here. Where did the BTR go? I think it redeployed... No, I think they're all dismounted from it. Yeah, they got PDUs and everything to try and track, but I would assume the BTR is... Yep, there it is, parked away, hidden in the corner. PHK still back at base. We got a few people rejoining the join in progress slots because of bug issues, because again, having triple digits on the server is bound to create a few issues. And I think we got one of those guys driving up in a Humvee. The 5-minute delay is really screwing with you. Sorry, man. There's also a Friday night fight event on Saturday. At least that's what I've been told, but they're also going to have me do a 5-minute delay. And again, I'm not a big fan of the 5-minute delays, but I get why they have it. So, shrug. Nemesis, if you're confused about it, it's basically Friday night fights, but more than double the time and a lot more vehicle asset utilization. And it's very interesting to watch how players adapt after losing like a squad or a certain asset or a platoon, and how they still recuperate even when they're getting their asses kicked. What I like most about it, though, is we still have the same situations that I would say happen more often in OFCRA than FNF, but usually the side that starts getting its ass handed to it is able to bounce back and completely annihilate the other force. Doesn't always happen, but it has happened quite a few times. I mean, heck, the last Cyber Island that happened, Blue 4 was able to eliminate one of Op4's vehicles in a full squad early on. But then Op4 just regrouped and steamrolled Blue 4, and it was nasty. So now I think we're going to start seeing contact here. This is Op4 Command, I believe. Lolo and Matt. And I think we're going to start seeing Lolo getting some eyes on here. Because Blue 4 is up on that far hill. So we'll see him scope into the binos if he thinks he sees something. So he's checking these other areas, but I think he's going to see those Blue 4 guys on that hill because it's really easy to skyline. Oh, he should have just seen that.
To all units, please just do a fast check.
How did he not see that? He just called in for all of his groups to check in. I'm really surprised he didn't see that. The vision when you're a spectator or a Zeus looking into their thing, sometimes there's like a little bit of a delay, so he probably went out of the binos quicker. It stuck on my interface for an extra half a second. Yeah, this has been up for about 40 minutes. Speaking of which, I need to tab out real quick and check something. Cool, alright. Running out of hard drive space again. So if he checks that ridge line, he's going to see some Blue 4 forces deployed at where I could have sworn he should have seen that striker. But he is checking across. Making sure there's nothing on the left. He's got to scan these hills again. He will eventually. Just gotta give him time. So he's going back in the binos. He should honestly also be doing like just quick spot checks on the binos on these hills, if not the full ridge. And just alternate between looking there and then looking left. Right and then left. Just sweep. So I'm going to get out of his view for a moment. I'm going to go to Blue 4 here. Yep, they're starting to climb up over here. We got these guys climbing up over here. Doing a little bit of a nasty skyline, though. Lolo should be able to get that. He's too focused on the valley, though.
Ma veramente.
Hey, son. How you doing?
Let's give him a warm welcome, shall we?
Just rolled left and then rolled right. I thought he spotted them, like, as little things on the mountaintop, so I thought he was doing a immediate roll left. But I think he's too focused on that valley. But you can see that Op4 is deployed on his left flank. I'm just
keep the long range channel clear, guys.
They're talking about keeping their LR clear. All right. Yep, just do a sweep. Yeah, there you go. Please tell me he saw that.
C'è sta il 19 si stanno insultando.
Lolo, please.
Okay, 506, mark it, please.
So yeah, I think he's having to mark that position now that they know Blue 4 is right there. Surprised he didn't hold on it a little more, though.
Nemici di fronte a noi, attento.
He just had eyes on that group. They're prone on the mountaintop.
Affirmative 506.
How many players? I think 107 was the last count, Nem. Usually it's a little less, but
Nemici di fronte a noi, sta attento.
it's been nice. All right, yeah, no,
Vedi la
he
trincea.
has to see that. It's an obvious.
HQ, I can see the enemy. It should be enemy special force. Pay extreme attention.
Okay, so Lolo's calling at, and he sees these guys. So I'm not sure if he saw the other group then.
Stai giù e raggiungi la cima, questi hanno nascosti.
So now he's pulling back. All right, so that means he didn't see that other group. That's interesting. But now he knows that Blue Force coming over there. He called them out as special forces, though. In reality, I think this is just a forward element here of the entire attack. Digging this ridge was a mistake, though.
Aber dafür habe ich jetzt Hardcover.
Send in goat team 6.
Because that tipped him off.
Hi, Liru.
More
I'm
than
playing
anything.
horror games with my friends. I don't like it.
Ja, noch mehr.
He looks, I jump scare easy, so I'm in your boat there as well. But thanks for the 13-month resub. I will present you with one
Yes,
F.
I am.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I hope you're staying safe among COVID. So some of these guys are memeing, and the SL just told him to shut the fuck up.
Nothing there.
I love it.
Hardcover now. Oh.
Ich möchte einen neuen Buddy, Max. Hast du ihn dir ausgesucht?
But Nemesis, if you're actually curious about these guys, do exclamation point OFCRA, go in their Discord, and you'll get everything you need in there.
Mein Hero, Karl. Ja, es zieht sich so ein Kontakt.
Wenn jemand auf uns schießt, freut ihr euch
Send in
darüber.
goat team 6.
I think you just went to German?
10 months, brother.
Rules of engagement. If you get shot at, retreat immediately. No back engaging.
What?
It's okay. If you didn't understand it, retreat immediately when we are engaged. We play like the friends today.
Yeah, that was my question. Are we now French?
Yes. Yes.
Jeez.
Snake, shut the fuck up. Echte Ezio würde ich das nicht sagen.
Revenant Knight, thanks for the 10-month resub, my man. I hope you keep enjoying the operations as well, and I hope you continue to, as well as you stay safe among COVID. Definitely.
Ich bin Sniper.
All right.
Risiko.
So, Blue 4 has adopted the French strategy. We have that wide force on the Strider Delta coming around. Where are those BMPs? So you still got one deployed way on the left flank. You got a UAZ driving up to them. And you still have the other BMP with the Metis on the northern group. Okay.
Okay, copy that.
Ash Elliott, thanks for the 6-month resub. 6 months for you as well, man. That gives you a new badge, too. I hope you keep enjoying the operations as well. And I hope you get a kick out of this.
Me qui sotto,
Yeah, righto, Az. Appreciate it. How are you doing? Also, I'm half debating drinking for the Paw Patrol op today.
Yeah, from HQ. I'm coming from the road that goes through Sorenberg. Over.
So the reason he's watching this is because he spotted this MRAP and just called it in. I think he also would have spotted that Striker coming in as well. But yeah, so Command doing recon is actually a really smart idea when it's at this level of range. Because there's nothing that can really engage these guys from up here. But Command being able to see everything firsthand and call it into his units and coordinate what his units are going to do to coordinate is a really good idea. Had it been an AO like this one, I would have questioned it a little bit because this one's a little bit tougher. Things are a little closer. Those MRAPs could have been within, excuse me, the strikers with the crows would be at a closer striking range, but that far recon area is really good for OPFOR's ground command to coordinate these things. What I'm going to be really curious about, though, is if OPFOR is going to try to do some sort of ambush right here, or if they're waiting for a dismount for this force to come around, in which case this is a really good looking ambush.
Invisible.
What's with the name colors keep changing? What? If it's Twitch, that's just Twitch.
Another team just arrived at the hotel in front of you.
Okay, so he didn't know about the striker that came in on that flank. I think he was focused on something else. So he just called it in now. But OPFOR has an advantage right now if they know where Blue 4 is deployed, and they could get a first strike advantage through an ambush on Blue 4 if they just bide their time.
Non lo vedo, controlla che non sia quello con la TGM.
Ich verstehe dein Problem nicht. Jetzt hab dich mal nicht.
These guys still haven't gotten eyes on that group yet, though. I'm really surprised they don't have someone actively scanning that ridge.
Sturmbandsführer, habe ich gesagt. Was? Nein. Ja, du weißt, was jetzt kommt, Max. Wird eine sehr interessante.
But OPFOR is in a great position to watch this attack happen. They can have the BRDM come around and flank. They can have that BMP and the BTR come around and flank as well. And Blue 4 is just going to push in their forces along this vector. And this is the test run. So JFAR has driven up. I think he's going to rejoin that striker because he's a JIP since he crashed. Except he's, well, he's on foot running over there. I think he's trying to rejoin the guys in the hotel itself. Hey, Revenant, 2 more months, man. Got a lot of cool stuff coming out in those 2 months, even though I'm, going into a part-time job, but it's worth it.
This is Q, go on.
Looking through his bino, he's going to see that MRAP deployed right there.
I repeat the last communication.
He just rolled right to get out of the grass.
Contact with Snail anyway. Enemy spotted at the hotel in front of your position, 600 meters. Enemy MRAP and enemy striker.
Well, that's another cool thing about OFCRA that I don't think FNF, that actually FNF doesn't have. It is a multilingual community for OFCRA. So it just kind of adds that cool aspect of it, if you ask me. Do I only Zeus for experienced players? I Zeus for who I want. I don't care what your background is. If I feel like if you have something that I'd like to Zeus for, I'll Zeus for you. If you don't, I won't. And it's not a matter of me being standoffish about that. It's just a matter of I only have so many hours in a fucking day. And life is a pain.
Go on, 506.
Grizzly, don't be racist. Ah, that's horrible to say. And again, you're at the part where they were talking about falling back as French players, so never mind. Never mind.
Sneak through the coast and go on hill 378. I marked the map.
I forgot. Again, 5-minute delay. And I boot my mic like an idiot as well.
Position marked as 506 finally.
Alright, so Blue 4 again, utilizing a large Overwatch hill to see if it's safe to push up. They haven't spotted that recon group, though, yet. So they don't know that everything that they are doing is basically screwed, because OPFOR is going to be able to send units to counter, but I think they're just relying on this ambush right here to stop that squad. Until OPFOR sees more forces come through, I don't think they're going to send anything additional here. But we're already seeing these Op 4 forces pull around, starting getting ready to mount. So, as Blue 4 deploys the rest of their force here, we might see Op 4 start setting up that flank attack. I just saw him point, but it wasn't over at those hostile forces.
Who's there?
Now, we don't have anything for these guys to spot, because Op 4 hasn't deployed along that ridge. Drunk Pop. Can we get a Goat Shepherd? Maybe.
Send in goat team 6.
Covert,
now.
thank you for the 3-month resub.
By all means, drink during the paw up, Liru.
Yes, yeah,
I know
it's like
half of my team
bingo
leads will be.
pixels.
You're the same Covert. You're the one that painted that the checkpoint RP op idea for me. That makes sense. Half your team leads will be drunk. All right. Well, again, I'm an asshole when I drink, as shown by the last Malden op. So, if you want malicious asshole Zeus, actually, no, that was the last, that was the first Malden op of, because that was the last op of 2020. So, all right, I'll keep it in mind. Thank you for the 3-month sub, Covert. I hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I hope you get a kick out of all the streams and you stay safe among COVID. I will say one of the weaknesses of having a 2-hour PvP operation that is one life is, again, with the fact that there's a lot of setup time, it means we do have a lot of dead air as we watch Blue 4 forces get into position. But it also, it's a good trade-off, though. I don't mind watching these guys deploy. It's like watching an ant farm. Speaking of which, the Little Bird has deployed. And it's heading along the southern vector. Question, does it have a camera guy in it? Or is it solo? It's solo. Whew. Don't you hate it how you can get allergies every day of the year? Every season of the year. Ugh. What kind of job? Job. I don't want to talk about it. Thinking about having a follow-up video for the YouTube thing to just talk about the just make the changes official for what's gonna happen and whatnot, and just to ease my own concerns more than anything. How's the 3G doing? None of them are streaming. Well, let's look. Do they have a 3G tag? If you give me some names of players that are part of 3G, I can get back to you. Because I don't see clan designations unless they have it like the 6 EME guys. But so far, no one's died. Everyone seems to be following orders quite well. Blue 4 has a good plan here, but they risk encirclement. But I can see they're going to probably put forces up along this ridge, guide forces through that valley, get engaged. And that BRDM might come around and do a flanking action as Blue 4 collapses some of its forces to come around. Now, it's probably not going to happen because the BRDM is about to hit the border, but if it follows the border up, it could run into this tow striker here. I think the Zeus is respawning it because it glitched out. Oh, it's definitely a tow. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely an ATGM vehicle. Whew. But yeah, like I said, there's a Zeus also on Vector just watching and spectating.
Okay, jetzt sind soweit 2 Fahrzeuge da. Weiß von nichts. Höre nichts. Ja. Es funktioniert.
I'm an independent Zeus that don't need no. I absolutely need player bases. Otherwise, you can't Zeus. I'm just saying, I do get offers every now and then to come Zeus for a community, and I might do something, I might not, and that one thing, if I might do it, might grow into something bigger. It just depends. But if they offer a financial incentive, it certainly helps. The moral of the story is if you're good at something, never do it for free. That's besides the point.
Ja, sonst benutzen wir es halt nicht. Dann habe ich einen Zoom-Faktor halt weniger, aber naja.
Or if that BRDM is going to keep pushing up. Because if that BRDM is able to catch this striker out of position and shred it with its 14.5 millimeter and knock that asset out, OPFOR is going to be able to maintain a massive advantage with those BMPs. And if OPFOR then effectively utilizes the BMPs at range, outside of the range of Blue 4's Maz gunners, I don't see Blue 4 winning. Because those auto cannons are going to shred
Aber sonst benutze ich's halt.
Blue 4. So we got OPFOR and an MRAP pushing up the right flank here. Does OPFOR have any AT on this flank? None that I can see. Oh, nope, that's a Grenadier rocket launcher. That's the thermobaric big suck round. So this is the RPG guy, but he's a little ways away, but he could be repositioned.
Io non lo sento.
Vedi.
Ok.
È verso nord-ovest.
Nord-ovest.
Nord-ovest direi.
Yeah, never watch a stream and play a game at the same time because the gunshots will mess with you. But Blue 4 is driving around a potential ambush. It's just a squad scouting things out. OPFOR hears that vehicle, though. You can hear it over the wind. But now they're deploying, and they might send forces down from the south. So we might have first contact start here. So I'm going to tab out real quick, mute myself. That way I don't hear people's voices when they die. Otherwise, that BRDM is also crawling up. It does have an opportunity to snipe Blue 4's most powerful asset, which is their main counter for the BMPs. I'm really surprised that asset is being kept in reserve and not being utilized on the front line to find and eliminate those BMPs, if not at least for scouting. Otherwise, you got this force just climbing on top of each other. I think, again, they're being held in reserve as well. You got Hippie just in a car watching the road. Good old Hippie. This BRDM still pushing through. Could catch that striker out of position. We'll watch it. But Blue 4 has decided to drop the vehicle here and is actually deploying up this ridge. And it's going to have a perfect straight shot to get up to this position and start reconning the objective, which doesn't have anyone inside defending. I highly doubt they're going to be able to come down here without getting shot at by some form of enemy force, but I think it's really interesting how they're able to completely bypass and opt for entrenchment here. First Alpha, so that would be... I'm assuming those are the 3M guys. Let's see. They've been doing okay. Alpha's been kind of kept in reserve and keeping the rear left flank for most of Blue 4's operation here. So they're just going to be a squad sent in later in the battle, but nothing noteworthy's happened. OFCRA stopping just short to do a little bit of recon, but I get that, but that's going to allow that striker to get away. Tough. So Blue 4 just skids by on contact. OFCRA deciding not to collapse this flanking force just yet. That's a good call in my opinion, because they don't know where other Blue 4 elements are. They could still be planning that wide flank, but they have them at vehicle eyes. As I say that, they're actually deploying them to head down this MSR, and we could potentially see a large flanking action. What I'm trying to look for, though, is any Blue 4 elements set up so they can see this flanking force come by. Yes and no. But they do have eyes all around them, so they do have somewhat of a good perimeter. I mean, yes, technically I help run and administer in TSB. Well, I'm just saying I pick and choose my player bases, you know? So OFCRA, I thought they heard the vehicle coming up, but they haven't sent anything to go and investigate, and instead they dug trenches and they're trying to fortify as best they can. Meanwhile, Blue 4 is sending up additional forces here. They could still go in that forest and get engaged. What I'm worried about, though, is if Blue 4 then comes up on this hill and starts trying to pick off OFCRA from the high ground. Though this BTR right here would be able to counter. It would have to adjust, though, because that tire might be in the way. Even so. We might see another force come up that ridge. But I'll be curious to see where these other two groups go. Now, we got Blue 4 command elements over here. But the BRDM is about to be in a position to potentially snipe them. That would actually be hilarious if OFCRA is able to decapitate Blue 4's command structure before the fight even begins. And we have this poor medic reconning this route. He might run into OFCRA forces as well here. And then we still have the AT striker here, and the BRDM might spot it and try to go up and engage it. BRDM hiding behind that cliff. Very smart call there. Oh, come on. It's right there. So that medic was going back for that vehicle. Now they're following suit. Striker is pushing up. And BRDM is pulling back. So again, gotta keep eyes on it. That Striker is going to drive right on by. If OFCRA had redeployed AT over here and just waited it out, they might have been able to get a snipe on that Striker. AT's right here, but I think he's just going to drive right up to that position where Blue 4 is, and they're going to completely bypass this area. Which is great for Overwatch, but that's going to be really tough to push down on it. Now you also have this other Striker, Blue 4 Charlie, coming around, but it is going to have to be forced to follow these tall hills, and that makes it a target for this BMP, and you better believe that it is going to adjust and try to snipe that, if not with its autocannon, at least the ATGM. ATGM would be a great first shot weapon, though, because it doesn't make noise. Makes actually, that was a lie. It makes, you know, a smaller sound compared to the autocannon, and you can just guide it in to hit the target and guarantee a kill. So yeah, if the BMP isn't under contact and it needs to eliminate a threat, it should use its ATGM first. Oh, this BRDM, it's scanning these hillsides. If it were to look right, it could potentially catch Blue 4's ATGM striker out of position. It's not the case, but OFCRA definitely knows that they are setting up along this hill right here because they heard that striker drive by. Now, is this BTR going to turn around? Nope, it's still focused on that angle, so that striker could just annihilate that BTR. Now, OFCRA is doing a giant open dismount. Excuse me, Blue 4 is doing a giant open dismount right here. And I wonder if OFCRA is going to get eyes. I can't believe this. Blue 4 has punctured OFCRA's perimeter here, but I think all eyes are going to be on this BMP. It's going to have to get on an angle, though, to fire that ATGM, though. We'll see if one of those striker skylines, but they have a little bit of a saddle here to work with to at least push these vehicles up and still have a good amount of visual cover. This is why OFCRA should have put guys on these positions. All right? That would have stopped this. But it would have been too obvious, I guess, to be scouted. But it's just, like, if Blue 4 had autocannons, I would understand not utilizing these positions. But Blue 4 didn't have autocannons. OFCRA only has the autocannons. So it's interesting. Oh, wow. Yep, that was the toe striker. You can see a tube missing, and they just absolutely annihilated the BRDM. So first contact is taken out. Blue 4 taking out OFCRA's BRDM recon vehicle. But I don't think that's going to be enough. That would just allow, that just allowed for OFCRA to potentially snipe some stuff in the rear. But OFCRA could easily get an encirclement on this ridge. But Blue 4, there's a lot of open ground on this ridge between the base of it and where OFCRA would go. So it's interesting. I'm also really curious that we don't have people looking at these angles. So I feel like Alfred, if the barrel wasn't in the way, you'd see that BTR right there. I don't think these guys know that there's a full frickin' platoon down here. I'm gonna unmute real quick.
Plus d'un kilomètre.
No, so we already hear, actually I think that was Alfred speaking. Oh, and they're taking shots. Oh, Alfred, Jafar making the wrong call right there to try to crawl. There's some return fire going down, but that is the MRAP 50 cal firing at the BTR. However, the engine... Oh, shit. No, he got hit in the legs right there, but he's not reacting. I think he's just playing dead with it, or he's AFK. Those rounds are going to keep going. They're trying to get smoking, but the engine's towards the front. That armor does not stop 50. However, with the bullets going green, that means it loses velocity. And then blue means it loses even further velocity, so when it's green, it's a little harder for it to penetrate, but they are doing damage. You just saw the texture change. Now the gunner's woken up, wondering where those shots are coming from. But he has no idea, and the other guy is still in here just chilling. I don't think he realizes that that BTR is under fire. You're starting to see Command potentially pull back on the left. And Blue 4 is going to continue with that all eggs in one basket attack. BMP, meanwhile, is still set up right here. They have a dude turned out. I am head bugged. I don't think I can fix that from... I'm scared to do it, though. So I'm not going to... I don't know what happens when you do that in Spectator. But that usually fixes the naked people glitch. But I think they're just waiting to see if forces come down this ridge. Meanwhile, Jafar, who tried to crawl away, ends up getting knocked unconscious. And you still have that 50 plinking away at that BTR. And that BTR still has no idea. So he finally dismounts. And now I think he's going to see those tracers coming. And you can see those red tracers. And the crew is freaking out right now. Oh! Shot to the leg. Oh, he's going to have to run over his buddy to get away. The engine just got shot out. Now he's going to try to turn the gun. Engine is now smoking. The gun was hit too many times. It's stuck looking down, and that Vic is pretty much toast. And there goes that additional crewman. Unfortunate. Let's give him a warm welcome. So we got a medic coming up to... Actually, it's a regular marksman coming up to try to do some medical on this guy. Striker is being repositioned here. OPFOR redeploying some of their force down south to potentially come over to the defensive objective. Will OPFOR, yep, so we still have these forces coming around. BMP, though, originally was coming back, but is actually attempting a wide flank with the BTR and the UAZ out as recon. Now you have this massive force. Wow, other Striker just picked off the other crewman as he tried to hide in a tree, and he is unconscious and will probably bleed out because 50 cal is, you're not going to wake up from a 50 cal shot. So you got Blue 4 doing their due diligence to make sure not the skyline, because they know they're right next to it, the enemy's objective. So they know there's two BMP-2s out there with autocannon, so if they stand up, they might get engaged. We got this other force, as I say that, on the top of a really high point here, but I don't think the BMP is going to have eyes on that angle, because that autocannon could easily shred up there. I think it's too focused on this group to make sure it doesn't come down, but at the same time, it's hiding itself from most of that ridge. Looks like Jafar died, yep. And he disconnects. Picked off early. That was Blue 4's first KIA. But again, the really concerning thing, though, is that Blue 4 is going to get surrounded and suppressed by those two BMP-2s and not be able to push down this ridge. So Blue 4 may have knocked out the BRDM in one of the four OPFOR BTRs so far, giving them a slight edge, but the real threat has yet to be realized. And we also have a little bird flying right on top of OPFOR Command's position. I don't think OPFOR Command realizes that that little bird is right there, but I don't think the little bird knows that Command's there either. So if that little bird sees these guys here and turns around and decides to engage, they could potentially, that's PHK in there, by the way, he could snipe OPFOR Command, but I think he's too busy flying into the objective, and now he's going to start doing some recon here. Specifically to try to find these BMPs. It's funny how close we get to everything, you know? BRDM could have taken out Blue 4's ground command. Little Bird could take out Op 4's ground command. Anything can change, and it just happens to be if someone looks at the right place at the right time, they could give their team a very significant advantage by eliminating that one officer that just happens to be in charge. So you still have the strikers firing at that BTR, confirming that they're dead and everything in there is eliminated. Little Bird is flying around over here just to do some reconnaissance of this zone, try to find if Op 4 has anything else along this area, potentially as a backup angle in case this group gets absolutely annihilated. But we have Op 4 deploying the mechanized group with the BMP right here. Infantry, I think, is going to start screening for that BMP, because I don't think Op 4 fully realizes that the entirety of Blue 4's forces right here, because Blue 4 has been doing a really good job of keeping some of its units in reserve, or at least on the back line. But I do like how Op 4... Again, they haven't really split their forces on defending the two AOs. Rather, it's just a wide defense around one AO, knowing that they could always go recapture that base. The force split for Op 4 comes in this potential flanking attack from the north. But it's still concerning to see Blue 4 up here. But a lot of things can change in the next 10 minutes. So Blue 4 needs to find a way to get off this ridge and into the power plant. I think the Bird is reconning this area again to potentially have units fold east and then down south, but they also know Op 4 is right here because they took shots. So what Blue 4 needs to plan on doing is after they do this large ridge recon of this area, are they going to try an elaborate flank around and hit the power plant from the west? Or are they going to fight through Op 4's forces to the east and come down? Because charging down directly from here is suicide. But there is a third option. If these guys recon that position out and see that there's nothing there, you could see a Thunder Run. With a striker, preferably an MRAP or a Humvee because it can get more speed. But have a Thunder Run go down, get into that position, and start putting demo on these power plants because there's no defenders. It's just a matter of, can Blue 4 figure out that there's no defenders on that sector? So now you're seeing some long-range shots coming from over here, firing up to here. They saw a Blue 4 guy while they were moving, but those bullets are turning blue in the color, meaning they're losing a lot of their velocity. So even if Blue 4 were to get hit by that, it would only be moderate to minor wounds instead of severe to moderate wounds. But now you have this BTR scrambling to potentially get down and set up some base defense, just in case Blue 4 attempts that Thunder Run. Another issue with said Thunder Run is, again, the BMP is going to watch this like a hawk and potentially try to engage stuff, but down an open ridge, that BMP, even with the ATGM, is going to have a large amount of trouble trying to get a hit on a vehicle barreling down. Let's give him a warm welcome, shall we? So we'll just have to see how things go. What's with Blue 4's helicopter? I think it's just, again, doing recon right now to make sure that their eastern flank here is secured. But they're not paying, they're relying on infantry to pay attention to their northern flank. But it's actually, these guys are watching that vector. And Blue 4 still having eyes to the west. I don't think we have anyone from Blue 4 watching the north, which could go back to bite Blue 4 in the ass here, because that's where Op 4's wide flank is coming. And with the helicopter's actually landed now, and it's staying in reserve. So, interesting. So some more pot shots being put up on this ridge. And we got some autocannon shots coming in from the BMP on this position. So I think that's going to negate any chance of Blue 4 attempting a Thunder Run now that they know a BMP with an autocannon has eyes on this hilltop. I mean, would it be a hill or technically the end of a ridge?
Let's give him
I need a refresher in geography. Some of these guys, they got to be careful because they are in the open from some of OPFOR's units. But if OPFOR can sandwich these two autocannons and watch this ridge, they're going to force Blue 4 to have to pull back to the east. In which case, OPFOR can still have their forces set up here and deal with any overflow that comes around. But they pulled half the forces back to be on security in case Blue 4 tried to do an open movement down, because there's still a little bit of defilade from that BMP. And interesting enough, we have a BTR pushing. I thought they were going to go back and play defensive on the objective, but they're actually going to push up to the hill, utilizing the BMP's Overwatch. That's risky, but I could see it working. So again, another difference between OFCRA and FNF is the decisions here feel a lot more tactical. It's more so like a chess game. FNF, I'm going to be honest, there's been plenty of ops I've seen where they just rush into each other and try to eliminate each other, and it comes down to the PvP. But Blue 4 is actively trying to find a way to hit these positions, and OPFOR is actively trying to send units they have in reserve to counter. So it's very methodical here on what these forces are trying to attempt. Some AT just got launched from OPFOR. It was a little short, though, but again, they're trying to put pressure on this ridge. Or trying to... I don't know what they're doing, actually. Like, the point of it. What's the effect? What's the intended goal of it? Blue 4 is appearing to pull back a little bit, because they're not going to push out to try to counter that, because they also know the BMP's right there. But OPFOR is pushing a... They've popped a lot of smoke right here. I guess that's just a pure distraction effort, just to try to poke Blue 4 to see what they're gonna do. At this rate, though, OPFOR, I think they're coming back to grab their UAZ and push their command element back to continue to get recon on their forces. And we still have Hoovy here, who is part of the BRDM group, still folding back in. If you die early enough and join the stream, you can experience it twice. Yes, because of the 5-minute delay, you can watch yourself die if you immediately come onto the stream. Just make sure you don't share any information you get from the stream to anyone that's still alive playing on the server, because that's cheating. Now we have the Striker that's turned out and was firing shots. I don't know at what, but the BMP has pulled back. The Striker's firing right at forces that are next to the BMP. I'm concerned why the BMP isn't trying to push out right now. Here we go, here we go. They might not have to defilade, though, from this angle. They need to go right instead. There it is. He's getting eyes on now. Oh, they're firing 50 cal at a BMP. Those poor bastards. Striker now pushing back. The gun might have been disabled in that barrage. No one died in that, though, but we could see that that thing is, nope, it's still okay. It was able to move up. Usually when the gun's pointed down, it means the gun itself is disabled, and you might still be able to turn it left and right, but you can't turn it up and down, so it really limits the ability of that turret. Are they going to try again? I mean, it is a valid strategy of if you play chicken with a BMP and make them use all their ammo. I mean, I guess that could work, but now they're trying to set up the ATGM. Ooh, So that striker is trying to distract the BMP so the ATGM striker could get a hit on it. But this barn is going to play really well in the favor of OFCRA here, and they know it too. They know Blue 4 might try to line up an ATGM shot from that ridge, so they're playing very defensive with this barn. And OFCRA, as long as they keep both power plants intact, excuse me, power generators intact, they'll get the 5 points. And they'll win the match by default, so it's a good call there. Meanwhile, we just had a team of guys drive right through OFCRA's line here. There was an AT guy available, but he doesn't have his AT on him. Interesting. So they're going to deploy here, and we might start seeing Blue 4 send some forces to the south and redeploy some forces to try to get a different angle on this power plant.
Send in Goat Team 6.
I just realized we're at the hour-and-a-half mark. There's only 40 minutes left of this operation. Geez, time flies, doesn't it? But Edward Scissorhands, E_Cinderhands, I get the reference though. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. I hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I hope you get a kick out of this operation and you stay safe among COVID. So, this striker, as you can see, it's still harassing those forces up there. It's trying to bait that BMP to come out because this tow striker is ready. But it's now pulling back a little bit, I think, because it saw... It just saw something it didn't like. But we need to see OFCRA send another force around. These guys hear that striker moving, though. It's Blue 4 trying to send forces around to do a flanking action. So maybe that BMP can hunt down that striker. But that striker will be a bit quicker. And might be able to get away if that BMP takes no action. And OFCRA might just try to continue being stealthy here. Just so they can continue this push. Mike and Bex here. It's Pogo and Bex, excuse me. They're the call signs Mike. They're just being shads right now, looking at each other's directions, doing the best 360 they can with 2 people. I love it. But with these remaining 40. Technically 37.5 minutes, the question is going to become, what can Blue 4 do to get to those power plants, and what can OFCRA do to try to encircle the remainder of Blue 4 here? Now you got the ATGM ready, but if that BMP is paying attention, it can easily avoid those ATGMs by pulling back into the barn area. So you got Zicky here doing his best to recon out that ridge. And you have this striker engaging infantry that are part of Tango. So these guys got to be careful because they push past that little dam there. They're going to get shot at by that striker because now Blue 4 is fully utilizing this high ground. And we just heard an ATGM launch from the striker. And that was to take out the engine-smoked BTR just to verify that it was destroyed. I think that was a little bit of miscommunication in that. That also gave away the fact that this striker was here, and now you're seeing some shots going over that striker. If the BMP was able to hear that, they could have pulled out and quickly gotten a few shots on that striker to potentially disable it. But now you see that striker taking tracer fire over here, and you might see this BMP try to coordinate with that tracer fire to try to engage that striker, because if OFCRA can knock out that striker, it is very unlikely for Blue 4 to win, because Blue 4's only long-range AT capability is that striker. But again, OFCRA is going to play this defensive. But if Blue 4 can start getting forces on the flanks here and start putting pressure on OFCRA in other directions, you might see OFCRA's flanks collapse as they push units back to deal with those flanking attacks. So it won't be the flanks collapsing, it would be the main force collapsing, my bad. And that might let Blue 4 push in, and they're trying to redeploy forces here, but there is a BTR group over here. I just don't think they dismounted the BTR. Yep, so that BTR is somewhere stashed back here. But Blue 4 is utilizing the fact that they have OP4 invested in this position, and they're going to start trying to sneak forces around. It's just, can OP4 catch any of those forces in transit? Because right now they're focusing on using the BMPs at maximum range, which is a great idea, but it's leaving Blue 4 with a lot of room to do maneuvering. Coming back around to this ridge, we're seeing some more fire coming up on these strikers. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. This is actually one of the more stagnant OFCRA ops I've seen, in the sense that there hasn't been a lot of death. Usually by the hour mark, we've seen a good chunk of units get eliminated. There's the tow coming out. The top gun's disabled. See how it's slightly gray compared to the rest of the texture? Let's see. So he can still move it left and right, but can he move it up and down? I think it's stuck. Nope. Nope, he got a little bit. All right, cool. I don't see a crater impact, though, so that ATGM definitely hit. Yeah, but it didn't do significant damage. It was only superficial. Oh. That's going to make these guys incredibly more cautious, though. I'd assume the gun is partially damaged. Another ATGM will guarantee a weapon disable or a, what's it called? A catastrophic. Which basically means the Vic explodes. But that was an excellent bait and switch play by Blue 4. And again, you don't see that anywhere else in Arma 3, not to my knowledge. So really good coordination there by those two strikers, waiting for that autocannon to start firing so the ATGM could watch that section and take out that BMP. Or at least attempt to. And although it wasn't the shot they were looking for, it at least is going to make this BMP be a lot more cautious now, knowing that if they stay out for too long, they can get hit. And that extra caution might give Blue 4 an advantage here to sneak a force in and get that power plant destroyed. I do agree, Jenna, Jan Salvi. Sorry if I butcher names. I'm horrible with language, but I think we are going to start seeing Blue 4 attempt some rushing actions here, which OP4 doesn't have anything to directly counter. If Blue 4 can just rush in here, get in the buildings, and blow these up, I mean, they win. OP4 will then rush a group back, but Blue 4 has a striker ready to go take that position if they need to. So I think OP4 is just playing this a little too cautiously, and I think that added caution is going to screw them over. Because we are about to enter the last 30 minutes of the operation, and this is where we're going to see a lot of interesting plays. So Blue 4 doing a partial Thunder Run. This is Alpha. They've got a Humvee and a Striker, and they're actually going to go do a wide flank around. I think they're going for the Russian base. That or just a wide flank in general, because this is all going to be a kill zone. But maybe they're going to try to get in these forces right here and then come in and try to flank that BMP and take it out close. Because this small force right here, I don't think they know that it's there. They just know the BMP and a small garrison might be at this one building where Ziki has been reconning for the BMP. But they could push through and overpower everything. But one thing I want to quickly look at all these players that are still here. I mean, we got Mikkel who died. and he was the driver of the BRDM. And there's been a few other KIAs, sure, but it's only been a handful. There's been a lot of skirmishing here, but nothing that's been concrete. Alright, otherwise we have the Blue 4 group right here. They are utilizing their 50 cal, and they actually just sniped someone with it. What a ranged shot there. Knocking out a Grenadier. You can tell because that tube, that camo pattern indicates it's an RSGH-6. Which is a Grenadier weapon. It's basically like an RPG, except it fires a thermobaric round, which instead of doing anti-tank damage, it does thermobaric damage, in which case it sucks all the oxygen out and just cooks people and their lungs alive. Also, that 50 cal just sniped another dude. That dude has iron sights, and he is getting accurate hits from a literal click away. Over a click away. Over 1,100 meters. That's insane. Because at that range, you're literally just lining up a little slit on your screen with a little speck. And the fact that you're able to accurately take out 2 people with that is absolutely incredible. Alright, Blue Force pushing this left flank right here. Gonna start seeing Alpha deploy and get into contact with these groups. That BMP is pretty much skewered right here, because if it tries to leave that position, it will not have the speed to outrun an ATGM from the ridge. So, not a good spot to be in, unfortunately, because that BMP is just gonna be out of action. The real reliance is going to have to come from the other BMP, which is on a flanking action. This group might come in and see this Blue 4 group right there and be able to take them out, which would get up for another small win here. But I think Blue 4 has too many forces in play right here at a really nice battle line to eventually take the power plant. Less than 28 minutes remaining, though. Blue 4 is going to start getting a little desperate. They're going to have to be quick on their movement. Little Bird is coming around again, doing some high altitude recon. For a helicopter, I mean, high altitude for a plane would be a lot higher, but you get my point. If it was doing low altitude, it would be a lot closer to the ground. I think it's just trying to see if it can spot anything along the ridges, anything big like vehicles, or just be a general distraction. So Blue 4, they've got all these forces deployed. Alpha is a pretty big squad all the way on the top, and the defending OFCRA forces are very scattered. So I could see this contact happening. OPFOR is going to then fold in forces from the north, potentially pincer this Blue 4 movement, as we're starting to see with this force here. So OPFOR could still hold, even though a lot of their pieces are out of position. Great, I'm saying pieces now like it's chess. But the strategizing behind Blue 4 and OPFOR, again, I already made that analogy. I'll make it again, though. It's a chess game with people's lives. Virtually, of course. So we have another Blue 4 group coming in to join this Ridge group. I think they're going to come down here and potentially come around this one flank, knowing that the other group is supporting them. Now you're hearing that BMP. It was firing at the Gulf group coming in, but it looks like they didn't take any damage. ATGM going in. Oh, a near miss. It hit the concrete, but that BMP being reminded that it is skewered to this position. And now it's trying to turn out here and fire at the other Gulf vehicle. That Vic is still able to maneuver. Next ATGM, I believe that was a hit. If not, nope, that was definitely a hit. BMP is smoking. That is what Blue 4 needed to take out Op4's most powerful asset in the area. There's another BMP to the north, but it is out of position, and this is going to allow for Blue 4 to push their forces through the northern side and potentially get to this dam and take it out. But they still have a backup plan going on. Blue 4 is just so well deployed right now. We do have Uniform from Op4 starting to engage with Echo from Blue 4 because their Vic was taken out. That had to have been an incredible long-range RPG shot by Uniform, which was about 400, 500 meters. Good shot. And now you're having Blue 4 pushing this area. They just took an Op4 guy out. You just had Blue 4 guy go down. A rocket got flown up here. That looked like I think he's firing AT warheads here, but it is being effective. He might have had an OG warhead or two that he utilized, though. And now this Blue 4 group is getting picked apart. They're down to one guy, and this other team is moving in. That is not what you want to see for Alpha right now. 2 dead, 1 wounded, and the wounded guy is on the top of their roster, so he is probably the squad lead. They also have 2 engineers back here. Holy crap. Fucking RPK just decked 2 Blue 4 guys, even though Blue 4 had the drop on him. And only his legs hurt. Third guy's coming down, wondering what just happened. Might see the hands get thrown up right there, and instead puts his gun away and starts medicing. Fog of war, my friends. The fog of war. Alright, who's gonna medic first? It is the RPK guy's battle buddy that takes him out. So Blue 4's Alpha Squad getting decked, the 3M guys, according to another guy who wanted me to check on him. I'm sorry I'm showing them getting annihilated, dude. One of the engineers just got picked off. I thought Blue 4 would have been able to steamroll this, but no, Op4 just... Wow. The MOR guys and some CSEC guys. One from the L13 and a guy named Seal. Hot damn. Now, I wonder if that AT guy has any AT left to take out that striker. And you got that BMP coming in from the northern gap, though. But if that AT striker is still up there, that is going to be easy prey. Real quick, I just want to check up here. You've got Gulf elements coming down. Looks like Op4 has deployed forces in here from a BTR. That was Romeo in reserve on the rear. Has come in now to deploy forces to hold that garrison. That might buy Op4 the time they need to hold this position, because we only have, doing some quick math in my head, 22 minutes, give or take. 23 minutes, actually. 22 to 23 minutes. But Blue 4, hot damn, Alpha got spanked. And the rest are getting picked off. It's just down to 2 right here. Alberto getting shot in the back. I need to look at one of Op4's guns real quick. I believe that's 545. Yeah, AK-74s, AK-12. Ay. I thought they had 7.62 for a second because they were just knocking Blue 4 down, but no, that was nasty. And now you got an Op4 group coming on the southern side of this ridge to try to pick anyone off, but Blue 4 has a lot of forces here to now try to get up and attack that dam site. And they still have the ATGM vehicle up here. And the BMP is stationed to the north, and it is still coming in. Watching this ridge line. Blue 4, meanwhile, taking a lot of its forces. That's actually still Bravo going. Uniform over here. Actually, it's Echo. Uniform's over there. That's OPFOR. But Echo is pushing around to potentially do a wide flank or at least distract OPFOR with their own maneuvering. Another Blue 4 guy died right there. The only thing that's still there is the Striker. That is scary if if all of your infantry screen is dead. And we have some elements of OPFOR that have come back up to this hotel. So Blue 4 getting encircled, but Blue 4 still has an opportunity to win if they can get these forces to push in and take those power generators out. But this BMP is a little concerning. Blue 4 has the means to take it out, just Blue 4 doesn't know about it yet, but an opening barrage of HE fire can turn things around in an instant. And look at that. Striker just took out someone walking around down here. He had a radio on him, too. So that could have been an SL. Probably was the SL. Wasn't him. Wasn't him. Yep. 6 EMEs XSL as Shadow is down. They're popping smoke because they need to go and grab his radio. It's just one of them accidentally popped a frag and killed his buddy. No way. I don't see a -1 here. But how do you... No. That had to have been like a GL or something. I refuse to believe that was a frag. I mean, was there a symbol right there for the grenade icon? Because if there's one of those red symbols right there on that explosion, that means that was a grenade. And one of them just blew his friend up, who was trying to rescue the SL. Hot damn. So Blue 4, there's still a BTR down there that is stopping them. But long-range fire from a Striker taking out the driver of the BTR. It is now trying to get an angle on the gunner. When the vehicle symbol disappears over it, that means the driver's dead. And the gun, I think, was just knocked out as well because the gun just went down. Let's get some confirmation on this vehicle. Yep, that is both Clacker and Falcon dead in that Vic. That Little Bird being a little mosquito, utilizing its 7.62 M134 miniguns to fire down. It's not going to get any hits, but it's at least keeping these guys in positions within buildings here to make sure they don't get hit from the top. ATGM comes in and destroys the BTR, making sure it's down. Other people are mounting up in this BTR as well, but that thing was just ATGM. If it pushes out, it's going to meet the same fate. And that tow Humvee's going to come back out. And if that BTR is pushed out, it might try it again. There's the next shot. BTR doesn't react in time, and it is down as well. Blue 4 has an opportunity to get over here, but this one BMP is something to be concerned about, and I don't think Blue 4 knows about it just yet. If Blue 4 attempts a rush, but that BMP is in a position to shoot him in the back, Blue 4 is not going to be able to get on top of this position, and we only have 17 minutes left for Blue 4 to take that power plant. I believe this force is going to rush down and take that Russian base. We have another Striker here that could potentially do another large flank here, but I think that was Alpha Striker that pulled back. Yep, I recognize those names. Got more 134 rounds coming in. But so far, in my opinion, the reason this is going down this way is OPFOR did not utilize their BMPs effectively. Yeah, they had the right idea with one of them to put up right here, but it eventually just got pinned in one spot and taken out. They really needed to put them on higher ground and get some better overwatch with them, because that allowed for Blue 4 to get on those overwatch positions and start coming in and hitting this one spot. So again, for those of you that are here right now, just to give a quick recap on how this all worked. Oh, that was silly. The BMP just gave its position away by firing. Now, I'm going to be curious to see if this ATGM vehicle, now that it's reloaded with some additional tows from its interior, if they now adjust to go take it out. I'm trying to show the interior of the Vic just to show you. Here's some of the tow racks, by the way. But they have a lot of spares in there. BMP now charging in. Perfect time for that ATGM Vic to come up and take it out. Anyway, it's 5 points if Blue 4 blows up 2 power generators in those buildings. 3 points if either side has control of a base over there, just at the edge of my fog. And then 2 points if either side is able to kill... oh, this is silly. Don't hit it from the back, though. The back is just an APC spot. That's not going to do any damage. No! No, you silly goober! No! Never mind, it still caused the cook-off. So, because you can see the black smoke coming in the back. Usually, when you put AT in the rear element here, that means it penetrated and hit the central part. But the back is just where the infantry sit in the BMP, because it's still an APC. So, a rear shot is not always a guaranteed hit, but Blue 4 got a little lucky on that. You gotta hit BMPs by the front to guarantee a kill, but again, they got the shot, they got a little lucky. In OFCRA, they do have a custom version of RHS configs to, I guess, redo some of those damage models, because old RHS from a year ago, you could hit the BMP from anywhere with a M136 and still get a catastrophic kill with it, so... that's why. But either way, OFCRA just wasted the last BMP they had, and I could, if Blue 4 is quick, they can capitalize on it, but if they still keep going slow, I don't see how Blue 4 can still win, if not by just getting forces down there. But again, 5 points if Blue 4 blows up both those power generators. OFCRA gets 5 points if both those power generators keep intact. If Blue 4 only blows up 1, then neither side gets the 5 points. 3 points if they hold the Russian guard base, either side when the timer runs out. And 2 points if either side knocks the opposing side down to 5 or less people. If you want a full breakdown of this mission, do the ! mission command. The full write-up is in a link. It's too much for me to write. And otherwise, OFCRA is about to jump Blue 4 command. That's hilarious. Aviator, thank you for the host at 5 viewers. Hope you're doing all right. I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. All right, OFCRA is going to do some Ghost Recon coordinated shot shit. There it is. One of them immediately getting mowed down, and there's the other one. That GL went a little over, but there is Blue 4 command completely decapitated there. But at this point, 12 and a half minutes remaining. Blue 4 has plenty of room just to rush down there. And here's the rush. And we also have the Striker over here. But they're going to still keep playing that cautious, but Blue 4 needs to get a force down. I think they think that OFCRA has a group down on that position, so they know if they hit the power generators, they can still win. But we have a group deployed right here of 3 dudes, and Benares is a demo specialist, so he would have the means to take out both of these power plants. ATGM coming in. I think they just tried to snipe the power generator with an ATGM, but the window caught it. Blue 4 trying to be innovative with everything they can do here. There is another explosive specialist trick track with a group of guys over here that can come around. OFCRA firing the one guy that survived in that crew, Royd Camper. He's doing his best to try to get some shots on this Blue 4 group that's come in. But there are still some 6 EME guys in here, and they are not a force to be trifled with. We see them all the time in Friday Night Fights, and they can do some pretty nasty CQC-based PvP, which is pretty much this environment at this point. CQC, close quarters combat. And we already saw Blue 4 Alpha get utterly annihilated, and OPFOR took no casualties to that. So I would say OPFOR right now has had the better PvP face-to-face with Blue 4, but Blue 4 has definitely had the better tactics overall. But with Blue 4 losing their command element, and we have OPFOR, a wide flanking group from that BTR that was driving with that northern BMP that charged in, they could still come up and take out the ATGM Vic. But at this point, that ATGM Vic isn't really needed anymore because they've sniped out all of OPFOR's vehicles, minus a BTR. which this group had, but they left up there. Because you got 2 destroyed BTRs here, you have the 3rd one destroyed over there, and then this group had the 4th BTR. So this vehicle is no longer needed because both BMPs are also destroyed. So OPFOR, you're seeing a large flank attack from the north here, but Blue 4 might just start deploying forces down because we've got 10 minutes left. And Blue 4 needs to make a massive attack on this position in order to be effective. So I just heard an RPG fire. I have no idea where it went, though. And we have Foxtrot now charging in with the ATGM Vic. Does anyone in OPFOR have AT? ATGM just pushed in. We do have one guy here with a VL Warhead that could take out that Striker, but the Striker just quickly tried to rush in, shoot an ATGM in the building. It did do damage, so this is what, actually no, it did not do damage. It looks like it was a partially damaged texture there, but no, it has to be demoed. The ATGM wasn't enough, so now it is pulling back knowing that it risks getting RPG'd. And I love how you have Roid Camper who's been sneaking down to join this garrison. But Bravo being very slow to move down here. They got one guy that's in the unconscious and no, he's dead. Oh shit, he's like dead. Little Bird, I think, might have just fired at Roid there. And now you got these 2 Strikers rushing in to at least take the Russian base. It's not going to be enough points, though, if they don't at least blow up a generator. So Blue 4 really needs to get Benares here to blow up one of these generators. And they have 8.5 minutes to do it. This is going to be close. But if 6EME can hold this position with the help of Roid Camper, it's gonna be great. If they can do that, they'll be able to secure the victory. We do have some blue on blue here, though. Bravo is firing at their own guys. Not a good thing to have there. And that 134 is also firing at him. That let Roid Camper get a shot on Benares' battle buddy. There's his 1 kill, and he's going to continue to run in. Roid might be able... There's the other guy that's down. Only Benares is alive here, so it's going to rely on Bravo to get in. The Blue 4 Overwatch group just got RPG'd. People died in there. You saw some blood, and the marker went away. OPFOR successfully pushed up and eliminated this Overwatch position. It's going to be up to Bravo, because yes, Blue 4 is going to be able to score points and take the guards base, but we need to see these forces beat the 6EME guys in Roid Camper. And I will say, Roid, like, we see him in FNF all the time. He is a very good PvPer. And he, on his own, just took out 2 of these 3 guys. Gets the double tap. So Blue 4 needs to figure out how they're going to get in there with only 7 minutes remaining, because if they do no damage, they have done damage to the generators with those ATGMs, we might see this vehicle try to come around to do another quick ATGM shot to destroy the generator, because if they can at least knock one out, that nullifies OPFOR from getting those 5 points. But we also see another Striker coming in. It is only a few people in there, though. So they're doing their best, but OPFOR might be able to hold. Blue 4 has lost more people up here. 1 man's down. And there's another guy that went KIA. So what? I honestly don't know, but we have Uniform for OPFOR coming around to potentially catch this spot out of position, and we still have Lieutenant Steele firing up at Blue 4's positions here. So where's the AT guy? We got 1 guy with a stick. We've got an RPG that just got fired up here at the ATGM Vic as it pulls away. But I don't think OPFOR, it's, I think it's actually because the, they're trying to find an angle where they can still engage that generator, which, realistically speaking, if they were to go right here, they might be able to guide an ATGM to hit that building. If they mag dump it, they might be able to take it out. So that's why the RPG guy is engaging. It's a fight for defending that objective, but both of these guys just got outflanked and taken out by the other Striker. 5.5 minutes remaining. RPG guy just tried to fire through a window, but it got caught. He's got another one ready to go. Gonna try to line up for another shot. He just has to make sure it doesn't get caught in the window again. These windows are very finicky. Gets it out that time, but slightly over, unfortunately. Hard to read that terrain sometimes. It is returning fire. He's got a tandem warhead, though. He's going to have to get a little closer, but we do have the strikers closing distance here. ATGM Vic trying to come in. And we have 5 minutes remaining. We got one guy that just got out. I think they're changing positions here. They're getting Callie out. Are they they're abandoning that Vic? I don't see any backpacks, though. They have no way of doing demo. So I think they're coordinating with Bravo here, because Bravo's going to try to push in forces with their striker here, because they need to get that demo guy track down there ASAP. Meanwhile, Blue 4 has control of this building here. Op 4 is folding forces back, but Blue 4 might be able to hold it. They got an Overwatch striker getting into position right here. And there's a lot of additional fortifications dug, indicating that Op 4 was here earlier. But at this point, it's neck and neck. All the forces that are on foot that are outside the AO at this point, that aren't immediately in this valley, are going to be mute. Because there's only 4 minutes left. AT was just fired from the rear, I bet. And that striker's taken out, and it is smoking, and everyone in that striker's dead. They're trying to sneak over, like, are they gonna just, like, rappel down? We don't have the time for that, unfortunately. If there's another 5 minutes, then maybe, but we are on do or die, 3.5 minutes. Roland and Callie are doing their best to try to clear his position out, but Steel is on the upper floors, camping with that LR. But Callie and Roland are in a striking position here, making sure it's clear, but I don't think they have any demo. And there's no way to really mag dump this. But they need to find a way to take this out, because look at all of Op 4 that's collapsed on this area. They know, Op 4 knows if they hold this position, they'll be fine. And there is still a tandem heat warhead here to take out a vehicle. And the ATGMs aren't out of ammo. I'm surprised they didn't try to mag dump that thing. Roland getting taken out by a marksman shot from forces to the north. No, I think this is it. Unless we start seeing that 50 cal mag dump that power station in an attempt to blow the building up. More shots coming in on Callie. He's able to fold in time. I thought Blue 4 would have had this, but they had no plan after they got up there to maneuver. And by the time they started enacting that plan, forces started getting surrounded and completely taken out. RPG coming in. I think it was just short. No, it hit the wheel. Grenadier rounds coming in on that thing as well. 6 EME still holding out right there. Bravo's still crawling up, but there's not enough time. This is gonna be it. Blue 4, they got the Russian guard base, but I don't see it. Now we're gonna have the tandem warhead guy poke out right here and destroy this. He doesn't know. Oh, it might be blocked, actually. If he were to open this door, he would have an easy, perfect shot. And that would eliminate that vehicle. Callie, meanwhile, walking up, killing Lieutenant Steele. And there's still a lot of guys alive on both sides. Blue 4, though, has a few more skulls than Op 4, because Op 4 had... Well, actually, no, I take that back, because there's also a lot of 6 EME guys down. Now the Striker is trying to get some snipe shots. But Tandem Boys doesn't want to come out for that. Now, what if Callie runs in, takes that vehicle, and unloads both ATGMs in that? He might be able to still get it. And PHK deciding to play Special Forces man here, he is shot to shit immediately. Now he's rolling around being a distraction. I think that's the buy time for Callie to potentially get the Vic. He's lagging around. And there goes Pierre. What was the point of that? I don't get it. Some 50 cal coming in from a stolen M2 Humvee. That can penetrate into that striker. And that was a rocket from an RPG-26, I believe. Yep, there's the spent barrel right there. And that has disabled... no, it did damage. I'm not sure if it fully disabled it. Callie looking around. Wait, he just found Bernie's explosives. Op's gonna end any minute now. Because it's 2 hours and it was a 10-minute warm-up. So we might be at an overtime. But Callie might still be able to clutch this. He just has to get through this one danger area. So he's making sure he's fully bandaged. Can he make it? Blue 4 dismounting from that striker. I honestly don't know how much time he has left. We might be in overtime right now because of the proximity of how close Blue 4 is. Smoke's being popped. Callie taking every precaution, knowing that he is Blue 4's last chance, knowing that he takes out Shore, making sure that he is the only one to take the glory, and he is insta-karma'd as a punishment and taken out by this man, who shall remain nameless until I find his name, by Ricky. That was some instant Arma karma there. Now, will Callie wake up? I don't think so. So Blue 4, they're going to get points for holding that base, unless these three guys just absolutely annihilate the Blue 4 garrison, but... Now we're also seeing Op4 firing on Op4, because PID is tough from this range. It's also because they were in enemy vehicles. But, ay. Commandeered Maz shot going in. We have a man down right there. Trick track, I mean, we could see a Mission Impossible rappel down, but Op4 just fully has this place secured. There it is. Blue 4 gets the 3 points for capturing the barracks, but Op4 was able to hold the power plants. And that's it. GG. Anyway, guys, my name is Liru. Thank you so much for joining us for this OFCRA PvP operation. That got intense towards the end, and that was great to see it get that close. Literally, Callie was 5 meters away, but he took that extra second to shoot at one of his buddies, and that second is what cost him. Nasty piece of karma there. I mean, just look, the amount of Op4 guys that are still alive compared to Blue 4. Hot damn. But anyway, we will be back in 2 hours for a Zeus operation. I'm going to make myself a drink right now so I can get drunk for that. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Go operate operationally. I hope to see you in 2 hours for that Zeus operation for Paw Patrol. And otherwise, cheers, have a good one, and go operate operationally. Now I just have to figure out how to end the stream.